Hi, I'm Ashley Kuzikonki, and welcome to Red Hawk Spotlight. Today we'll be talking with Eddie Stawinski, the head volleyball coach of Montclair State. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So this is your 10th season that we just got over. So what does this program mean to you?
It's a lot. I mean, it's really my true first head coaching experience. I did a head coaching experience prior to Montclair. It was New Haven, but it was a men's volleyball program. So this was the very first time that it was my program, and I took over in 2011, and with a lot of goals in mind. And it's been a lot of hard work, but it is. I think I poured my heart and soul into this program, and hopefully it's starting to climb up in the rankings and in the conference, and I'm very proud of what we've been able to do in the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's great. You guys have been definitely on a roll as well over the last couple of years.
Yes.
Your record has been absolutely incredible. Last year you were actually very close to taking the lead spot for all the wins. So after this season, you guys came out with, I believe, 175 wins. So very, very close to the top spot. What would that have meant to you?
I mean, I don't think we put that much emphasis on like, an end goal, I think, per se. We just focus on one game at a time and one day at a time. And a lot of our motto is, for our team, is just get better every day. So, we don't go into every year thinking it's a championship or nothing. That's not our goal. It's to get better every day, and hopefully by that motto, we're playing our best volleyball towards the end of the season. And that way, if it doesn't go our way that we win a championship, we still have very good things to look back into and to learn from. And I think that's how we continue to develop year in and year out.
Absolutely. And you did mention earlier you did come from another university coaching as well.
Yes.
And you've kind of been around a lot.
Yes.
You played from D1 to D2, and now
Yes.
again you're back at D3.
Yes.
So out of all of those coaching experiences, what can you take from each division with you?
Well, I mean, there's a lot, and I've learned from great coaches. All the three stops in the divisions that I've been able to participate in. I think Division One, the level of play was amazing. And the fast pace, and you get to see some of these schools like Notre Dame, and we went to Pitt and this big time programs, and the environment that they play in. They have season tickets, they have sold out crowds. Purdue was an amazing place to play. So I gained a lot about that aspect to learn. I think one of the things that I learned from the D1 was the scouting aspect of the game. I spent a lot of time analyzing film for our team and breaking it down so our student athletes were prepared for the matches. And the D3 level is what I love. It's where I began as a student athlete. So I understand the model of academics and athletics. And that's one of the things that brought me back to D3. I think D1 is a great experience, but D3 was where my heart was. I think it's just because I had a great experience as a player that I wanted to do that as a coach when I had the opportunity to do so. So Montclair opened up. I didn't know anything about the program. I was obviously in the Northeast, in Connecticut and Massachusetts, where my experience was. But I just looked at it as a great opportunity, a great spot to be, a great location, with a lot of very good athletic programs here. So I thought, it's a D3, it's a perfect world for me, and that's what I envision myself being here for a long time.
Oh, great. And you did actually start your career in Puerto Rico,
Yes.
in your homeland. What
Yes.
was that like?
Volleyball was not my sport. So I didn't grow up playing volleyball. I grew up playing baseball very young. I picked up volleyball late in I think I want to say maybe it was 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade. So it was late, but it was one of the things that I fell in love with the sport right away. It was just the energy, the passion. One of the things that we had a professional league in Puerto Rico. So being able to see that and to grow and see some of these players play and the way that a professional league ran, and I was like, I kind of want to do this eventually and down the road. And that opened up a lot of opportunities for me. And I played club. I was able to travel to the United States, played a couple of competitions up here, and was being recruited by some schools. And I ended up going to Springfield College, and that's where I played. And then I had an opportunity to go back home and play professionally, which was kind of my dream come true. So I really enjoyed that. But yeah, I think it was just the passion that volleyball has played in Puerto Rico was one of the things that really I loved about the sport.
So the passion with the sport, but what came with the passion of coaching as well?
I think it's just a competitive nature. We're athletes, so we want to compete. And I think when I took over this program, I wanted to compete. I wanted to get better. I thought that every other program here, all the sports you hear about, NCAA tournaments, national championships, and all that, a lot of success stories. So I wanted volleyball to be up there. And I think, as a competitor that I am, I'm working for our team to be, in the top of the New York region, which is where we play. But also down the road, I want to be a top 25 team in the country. And we work for that, myself and my assistants, which I have a great group of assistants. We really work with that drive and that passion to take this program to the next level. So I think it's just the athletic mindset of, as a player, knowing I always went out on the court and competed. I think as a coach, you want to have the same passion as well.
So one of your assistant coaches, Rebecca Matatsker, she was actually a player here
Yes.
for a while.
Yep.
So what is that like, having her on the team, knowing that she has such a personal bond to Montclair
Yeah.
as well as the team?
Rebecca's a special player, and she meant so much for our program when she came in. She was actually a walk-on. She was a tryout. And Rebecca had the perfect mindset and mentality that it was, I put me wherever, I'm gonna compete and I'm gonna help our team. And when you have a player say that to you, you're not passing that up. And she played for us. She was one of the unsung heroes of our team. I think she never really got those accolades that some of the individual players received, but she was always a main factor as to why we were successful. And I think, when she graduated, it was hard to see her go, but we wanted to keep her close to the program because of what the program meant to her, but also what she brought to our team. And I think her energy is, nobody can match that. She's very energetic, funny, and she knows how to connect well with the players. And I think having somebody that went through a process, a transition process on the program, then taking that step to being one of the best in the region, she can relate some of those stories with our younger group. And I think it's always good to have that wisdom in the coaching staff with somebody that worked through it and somebody that understands what the program means to a lot of the alumni and to us and the coaching staff.
Right, especially as a walk-on.
Yes.
Yes, it's very impressive,
Yep.
yeah. And also Megan Barsh.
Yes.
She has been with you almost a full ride that
Yes.
you've been here.
Yes.
What does she mean to the team?
The same thing. I mean, Megan is just the same passion to the program. She has a great work ethic. She's a great role model for our student athletes. So she immediately, when she came in, she made a lasting impression on our program, and then she works with our setters, and she has a very good connection with them, which is one of the most important parts of our team, is the setting position. We call it the quarterback of the team. So she works with them day in and day out, and she's another person that, great role model, connects well with the student athletes, is there for them, cares about their development, cares about them as people. And I think that's our kind of one of the pillars of our program, is we want to make sure we're family, and we take care of each other, we look out for each other. And I think as coaches, we have the front seat to seeing these players develop in 4 years and grow and turn into great women that are gonna, do great things in their job and go on to do great things in their profession or whatever it is. But Megan and Becca have been amazing for our program, and we're hoping to keep them for many, many years too.
Yeah, and also Ashley,
Yes.
of course, Ashley
Yep.
Fitzgibbons.
Yep.
She's new.
Yep.
This is her second season.
Yes.
Why was she brought to the team?
Yeah, so Ashley played Division III, so she understands a lot about the D3 model as well. And she has coached in the NJAC. She has coached in another school, but we wanted to keep her. She had the interest over the summer, and it was another person that I had a connection with within the club world. So I knew what she can bring to the program, and she's also a setting coach. So she spent a lot of time with our setters as well. And I think, having somebody that now played Division III as well, and maybe not part of the program, but has followed us for a few years and knows what we're doing here is something that was very valuable to our team and to our coaching staff.
And can you talk a little bit about the recruiting process for the team as well?
Yes, yeah. So the recruiting process is a very interesting process. So
At D1, that was one of the things that I personally didn't like that much. The D1 level recruiting was way too early. The D3 level, obviously, we're looking at juniors. I think that's our primary thing. Some schools recruit earlier than that, but I don't spend time recruiting any younger than that. Let the kids, play club, enjoy their time with that, enjoy their high school seasons. But the recruiting process, we look at the overall package. So I'm the type of coach, and my assistants know very well, we're not looking at that stud player. So a lot of times for us, when we go to club events, we go to a convention center. For example, there's one in Florida. There's 200 courts. There's volleyball games going on from 8 a.m. to 9 o'clock at night. There's teams upon teams. So it's easy to get caught up with that stud player that you see that draws your attention right away. But I think we look at the overall package. I rather look at the player that has a lot of potential in developing. Might not be the star player in their team, but are doing the good things that we want in a program. Somebody that's going to be a team player, somebody that communicates well with their coaches, communicate well with their teammates on the court, that has the right mentality. Somebody that, you know, when we see them in these matches, are they getting crumbled under pressure? You know, are they going to carry the team and play with confidence? So we look at the overall package. We rather spend our time and our effort training players that are going to develop through the years and have a lot of potential that maybe they haven't reached that yet by the club level. So a lot of the times, you know, you see every coach is different, but we rather spend time recruiting that player that has that special, there's something special about them, and we want to make sure that we train them and we can development. And I think that's the beauty of coaching, is when you have a player that develops, you know, through the years and you see them do great things, and that's really rewarding. So that's the overall recruiting aspect. We want to make sure that, you know, obviously the school is a match. So you have to love Montclair. You know, you have to love Montclair first. You have to have your academics here. You know, that's the main thing. And at the end of the day, volleyball. You know, volleyball is always going to be there. So one of the things we say in the recruiting process is take away volleyball. You know, would you still go to Montclair? Would you still be happy at Montclair? That's the main question to ask. And that's what we ask them in the recruiting process. If I hear a silence on the other side of the line, we might have to say, hey, rethink it. You know, we'll talk about it in a couple of days. But oftentimes, you know, they get to know us and we get to know them, and oftentimes it's the right match. But, you know, you have to love being here. You know, and that's ultimately the main goal, is your academics, love being at Montclair, and then volleyball is always going to be there.
Yeah, that's great advice, especially for athletes that are coming in, for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of family, you are actually losing 4 of your seniors.
Yes.
What is that going to impact on the team?
It's always hard. It's always hard when you lose seniors. Every year it's different. It depends on the class, obviously the numbers that we graduate. But these 4 seniors are very special because they were part of a championship team, and they came in and they had success right away. And I think they worked so hard to try and get us back to a championship match, and we did last year. You know, we were close in the semifinals this year. So it's a special group because they were a part of that championship team, and they worked really, really hard. We had a great defensive player from Texas that came all the way from Texas here because Montclair was the right fit. You know, and she was amazing for our team. We had another player, Skylar, was an all-around player. She played basically every position for us, and that's really hard to find in our sport. Somebody that is willing to play all 4 positions and do it well. And Kate and Jill were, you know, our middle blockers, and they were the ones that were the center of attention on the net, and they were the ones that set the tone for our defense. And it's always hard when you lose players like that, but I think this group, especially because they were part of a championship team, and they worked really, really hard to get us there. So it's, you know, this is a special class for me that unfortunately, obviously, we don't get to keep them for long, but yeah, it is a very good group that we're definitely going to miss next year.
And I know that you did just say you guys unfortunately lost during the tournament to Stockton.
Yep.
Before that game, though, you guys had a huge win against Ramapo.
Yes.
What was the switch?
You know, I think it's always, especially in postseason for our sport, we only get a day to prepare. So it's just, we play on Tuesday, we have a day to prepare on Wednesday, we're back on the court on Thursday. So it doesn't give us that much time to analyze film, to kind of just erase the match on Tuesday and start over again on Thursday. So, you know, I think we played with a lot of energy on Tuesday. I think we found ourselves not having that same energy on Thursday, and then, you know, mentally you're trying to get that energy back. It's a hard environment to play at Stockton. They definitely get a good crowd. They're a great team, great program, and they played very well. So we tipped our caps to them because they were on their A game. But it's always hard because it's one day to prepare. So it's, you know, if you don't have that same energy as the day before or 2 days before when you played a conference match, you're kind of now battling in the game with, let's find that energy. Hopefully that sparks a run. Hopefully that gets us back into ease our nerves a little bit. But, you know, I think it was one of those matches that we were a little bit trying to find that, and we didn't. And obviously it was a great opponent. They ended up winning the conference championship, but it was I think it was, we don't look back at that, that was a defining moment in our season. It was, there were a lot of things that I think happened that were great in our season, and we look back at those instead of, obviously we have to end the season on a loss, which is never good, and it happens to every team. But it is something that we'll learn, and the girls are ready to move forward and learn from that experience.
And as a head coach, that talk on the bus ride home must have not have been easy at all. Can you tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, I mean, it actually wasn't too bad. And I think now, because we know that we have to learn from it. It's always a learning experience. So I think we don't look at the win or lose kind of scenario. We either win or we learn, and that's what we try to. If we get into this situation next year, how are we going to handle it? And I think that's one of the things that I said to the team was, this feels very close to what happened in 2015. And the reason I say that is because in 2015 we had a great semifinal match. We went to the championship match in 2015, and we had not a great match. We had a very not a good performance. It felt similar to this match, and then I told them that the next year we learned from it. We were back in the championship match and we won it. So it was one of those that I'm like, let's use this as a learning experience. If we're ever given this opportunity to be in the semifinal or potentially a championship match, how are we going to respond now? And I think that's one of the things that I wanted to end with the season with. It's not on a negative note, but something that, these opportunities will come up again. It's just how are we going to learn from it, and how are we going to respond if that opportunity were to present ourselves in the next year or 2 years or 3 years.
And just to wrap up here, from this season to the tournament, how are you looking for next season?
We're looking very great. I mean, it's very good. We're excited. We have a very young group that's driven, very poised to get better. They're good. They have a good chemistry. I think it's a fun group too, when they generally care about each other and they want to be in the gym. They want to push each other to get better. That always adds a little bit of a spark to everybody. Our recruiting class is looking very good. We're looking at some very good players that are going to complement what we already have. So I'm very optimistic about next year. I'm very looking forward to having those new players come into the program, and then trying to get back to those matches that mean the most. If it's a semifinal, if it's final, if it presents itself, then we'll be ready to go. But I think we're looking, everybody's in good spirits. I think that's one of the big things is, we after the season's over, we already met with some of the players, and they're already looking forward to the spring, to getting better, to training the things that they need to work on, that's something that's special. And I think that with this group is something that's going to take us to a lot of success in the future.
Great. And good luck to you guys next
Thank
season.
you.
And thank you so much for being with
Yeah,
us today.
not a problem. Thank
we
you.
really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And thank you all for watching Red Hawk Spotlight. I'm Ashley Kuzikanki.